Hi there, Timothy Linsdau, video producer and a Christian. Today I'm putting on my border watch cap. I only live a couple miles from the U.S.-Mexican border. I've been here for nearly 40 years. And today there's some news about the White House lowering the refugee cap. That's having a lot of people up in arms and probably some excited about it, one or the other. But we're going to talk about that. Like and comment on my videos, subscribe to support my channel if you would, that would be terrific. Yes, the headline here, White House weighs lowering refugee cap. Well, in this last year with the caravans coming up from Central America has overwhelmed the border facilities. All the Border Patrol, customs agents, all of them have been dealing with this issue. And on the border, across the border, Teton has been overwhelmed by the number of people coming in. And it's not just Central Americans. There's a constant influx of people from all over the world. A lot of Chinese, Africans, wherever, whenever, trying to get here to the promised land, as some say. And yes, it's difficult. It is a problem. But they're looking at lowering the cap, which is a concern for many. Especially those who support refugee immigration. The country accepts, over 1 million migrants every year, or immigrants, if you will, into the country legally. And that's an important part, since our birth rate in this country is probably not even hardly replaceable. So we need more people coming in, and that's an issue. But one of the things that's raised up is in the military. Now, you may have heard in the news about people who have served in the U.S. military that have been deported. Now, that's been in the news, and that's been an issue, and that local politicians have been dealing with. But something else is, when military goes into countries such as Iraq and Afghanistan, they need local people to translate for them and to help them get the information they need, the intelligence they need in a wartime situation. And they do come across these people who want a new life, who are tired of the violence or whatever is going on. And the military will hire them with what you might call deep research. They spend a lot of time with these people, vetting them out to see that who they are, who they say they are, and their families, that they're trustworthy, they can be trusted, and they make apparently a pretty good effort on getting these people, and a lot of them. Now, the same thing during Vietnam. After the end of the war, there were a lot of Vietnamese that came to the San Diego area, mainly because this is a large military area, and a lot of them settle, and I've met many and become good citizens and enjoying the American dream. And it's the same for our Iraqi and Afghan people who have volunteered to do this, and they actually are paid, of course, to become employees. But they receive a promise that the translator and their families will be moved to the U.S. That's something they actually do. I didn't know a lot about this until a year ago, when I had the opportunity to invite people to our Kiwanis Club to speak. And I came across this person who was in an organization called No One Left Behind. And so I invited him to come to our meeting, and it was a fascinating speech and discussion on what they do. No One Left Behind group, local group, they collect things that for families that are immigrated into the United States from these countries who have helped the military. And it's pretty interesting what they do. In fact, I got a little bit involved in collecting things around the house that they could use. You know, the No One Left Behind group, they have a list of things that people need, and people would donate those things and help them out. And the person who came to speak happened to be a sailor that worked in naval intelligence and had met a translator, and they developed a relationship, fell in love, and got married. She had written a book on the subject, and it was successful. It was interesting. So the Defense Department's gotten involved in immigration cap. Now, you would think, now, why would the military be involved in that part of it? Well, the previous Department of Defense leader, General Mattis, had fought to keep that immigrant level up so that they would have enough room for these translators and their families to come in, because when they lower that rate too low, you won't be able to bring them in, and of course they're in great danger in these war-torn countries for helping the U.S. out. So if they don't, take them out of there, their chances of survival are pretty small. So Department of Defense has been arguing for keeping that up and not zeroing it out or getting it too low. So that's been pretty important to the military, and of course they want to keep up their promise to these people to bring them here. Another part of the immigrant story is that, fortunately, the immigration numbers in August, around 64,000 number of migrants detained on the border, has dropped from May, which was about 146,000, down to this 64,000 level. And the main reason is Mexico is now helping the U.S. in this situation, because the Trump administration had threatened them with tariffs. Well, Mexican government has responded. They have a newly formed National Guard, and they're starting to patrol their own border. And people have been arguing that for some time. So they've lowered the influx by about 50%. And that starts all the way down on Mexico's southern border, where they're slowly shutting down this rush of immigrants. As I'd mentioned in the past, even the cartels were getting involved in this. They were actually becoming a quasi-travel agencies, because they would gather these people together on the border. They would instruct them what to do. They would provide them bus transportation to the border, places to organize on the border, and then they would virtually rush the border and overwhelm the border agencies and claiming asylum. That was a whole system that had been set up as part of this caravanning thing that was hitting the border. So now Mexico's got involved, and from the tensions involved over tariffs, and so that has helped slow it down. One thing written here says, in addition to halting the progress of those seeking entry to the United States, Mexico said it has also targeted smuggling networks, which would be those cartels. Now, of course, there's been corruption not forever, but for a long time in drug transportation across the border with the cartels, and drug production and all of that mess. So they're always looking for a business idea, and this new trafficking of immigrants became a business idea. And of course, they would probably charge the people to their last dime to get over here, but that's the nature of the world. So anyway, the fight goes on this number of immigrants, with even the Defense Department getting involved, so that they can continue to bring in people who work as translators and other areas in military intelligence. Another thing that's slowing it down, though, is that officials are collecting a lot more data from people, higher level security, slowing that down. Also, they have officers that now go overseas with U.S. citizenship and immigration service teams who are processing refugees. So they're getting a lot more information, trying to keep the bad guys out, and the immigrants, deserving ones, I guess, vetting them so that you get the right people in here. So there you go. The refugee level or immigration level has dropped for numerous reasons. We are getting cooperation with Mexico that's helped, and it's probably helping them because they were getting overwhelmed too. And the Defense Department is doing their best to keep that program going, and that with translators. So there's some border issues for the day and what's going on and how it's affecting us, directly, how it's affecting our neighbors. So this challenge goes on and on. The politics goes on, and hopefully we get it right. So if you would, like and comment on my videos, subscribe to my channel. Get out there and learn about these border issues and make it a great day.